3, 2.
We're live now.
Well, oh, we're live now. Hello, everybody. Woo woo. Are you here? I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you see? You know, the standard stuff that I ask you at the beginning of every live. It's a little bit early. I'm starting a little bit early today. You know why? Because, well, before I start rambling on, I should wait a few minutes and see as people are popping on to the event. So, London, do we have some eyeballs?
We have some eyeballs.
We have some eyeballs. Everybody's watching us. All right, so here's why I'm early today. Shocking, right? Usually we're just scrambling right up to the minute to make sure everything's plugged in and working. I'm early today because I am calling the winner of the $180 18th birthday celebration gift certificate. I'm going to call her right now. I'm not going to tell you her name. Hopefully she'll answer the phone. I'm not going to tell you her name in case you are her and you're watching. But if your phone starts ringing, ladies, gentlemen, whoever you are out there, you need to pick up. Here we go. Woo. What if I wrote down a number wrong?
This is Sherry.
Hi, Sherry. Is this Sherry Roper?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Sherry. This is Tiffany Spalding from Totally Tiffany.
Hi.
Hi. I'm calling to tell you that you won the $180 gift certificate from our birthday celebration.
Whoa!
What are you going to buy with it, Sherry?
I have no idea.
You're going to have to hop on the website and check it out. I just wanted to call you personally and congratulate you before the email comes out that says you are the big winner. And the team at Crafters Companion will be reaching out to you to get that all hooked up for you. But I want you to email me, customer service at totallytiffany.com, and tell me what you bought. So just put in the subject line what I chose so we know, so we can share it with everybody.
Okay.
All right. So thanks so much for entering. Thanks so much for being part of the Totally Tiffany crowd. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you chose.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Sherry. Oh, I forgot to tell her. She lives in Peoria. That's like right up the road from where I live. All right, everybody. Should we get busy? Oh, I need to turn on my feed from Katie to make sure I know what I'm doing here. Let's see. Katie says, I can hear you and I can see you. Double bonus. All right, I'm going to try and keep better track of what Katie's telling me to do. So congratulations to Sherry Roper, big winner, $180 Totally Tiffany gift certificate so she can choose whatever she wants. We have tons of new product rolling in, so that's going to be super fun. All right, what am I going to start with? I'm going to start with welcome to Get Organized Challenge number 2. And today we are talking about paper, how to sort, store, and organize it. This is going to be a power class. I'm going to go fast. Hopefully, sometimes I get on a tangent like now. All right, stop. Okay, how the GOC works. If you are new to the GOC, you can type the word question in the feed. Katie is watching for that in all caps. And she will, if someone on the feed can't answer that question quickly for you, Katie will try to feed it to me. The questions, the feed goes so fast that sometimes we miss some. So if by the end of the class your question has not been answered, please feel free to email customer service at totally-tiffany.com and ask that question, and Leanne will make sure that you get the answer to that. We are delayed a little bit, so at the end of the class, you may still be watching when we're actually off air. So that's another reason we don't always answer your questions. So just keep that in mind. At the end of each week, when you complete your progress, you need to when you complete your challenge or work on as much of your challenge as you can, you need to put up a progress post so that you can get in on the drawing. We have a winner today from the first week already. Let's see. Oh, and if you haven't downloaded your workbook already, there is a workbook for the class today. My suggestion to you is that you download it and keep a copy in a file on your desktop, because all of the links and things that I talk about, whether it's a blog post or video or whatever, those are all live linked in that document, so it's easy to go back and find them. If you did not sign up to be on the Get Organized Challenge email list, the benefit to, you don't have to, obviously, if you're here and you're watching, that's great. But the benefit of being on the email list is that you do get an email with the handouts and the assignments and all the links sent out before and a follow-up email after that answers additional questions and that type of thing. All right, so let's just jump right in with this week's winner. I'm super excited to announce Lisa Sabo. Woo-woo. Lisa Sabo is this week's winner. She will get a Totally Tiffany gift certificate. Lisa, if you can reach out to prizes@crafterscompanion.com, they will get you your prize and her progress post with a lovely picture so we can see her room in the before is, my desk is a little clearer today, but this is the state of my studio. I've done my paper and stamps in past GOCs, but I'm fully committing to the process this year. I have a binder started my themes and sentiments list, started my big accountability page, my daily accountability journal, and reviewed the videos and blog posts for the week. You can see some new empty TT items in the front of the window ready to go. So we are so ready for you to share that with us, Lisa. And everybody likes to see before and after. So as you're making progress, you should be taking pictures of your progress for yourself because it's fun for yourself. But if you want to share them on the Get Organized Challenge page, it helps to build up that going public. And you're going to feel really good when people say, wow, your room is looking great. You've done such a great job, all that stuff. All of those things, we need to take them in as humans and enjoy them, because when you get that good feedback, it keeps you motivated and inspired. And that is half the battle with getting our craft rooms organized. And then there's a couple of comments on the website. The first one, there were so many amazing big benefits boards, purge boxes, and widget journals created this past week. So if you're looking for inspiration to create your own, check out the GOC group. So that is one of the beauties of being on that Facebook group. Whether you actively participate or you just lurk around, you're going to see what other people are doing. Last week, the big benefits, the widget journals and purge boxes, and hopefully those will motivate and inspire you. Okay, and then we're going to try and pick helpful tips every week from people in the GOC who have posted things that we think might be beneficial to share with you. And so this week, it's Robin Bennett. She says, I've done the challenge a few times. My secret is a timer. You can become totally overwhelmed. So set a timer for so many minutes on each project, including laundry or dusting or vacuuming, any of those things. She says she usually limits herself to 20 minutes at a time. I give 20 minutes to sorting, 20 minutes to dusting the bedroom, 20 minutes back to sorting, 20 minutes to vacuuming. She says the biggest secret, find out what works for you. Thank you, Tiffany Spalding, for changing my craft room and my organization skills. You know, it is so important, you've heard me say it over and over again, to recognize who you are, how you craft, to move forward with crafting organization. Equally important to ask yourself those questions about just things that you need to do at your home or your work. The more you consider how you are and what works for you, the more likely you are to identify that thing or those things and be more productive at whatever it is that you want to do. All right, my big tip too this week, I want you to write this down, put it on your bulletin board, put it on your desk. Start small, but start now, right? No excuse. It doesn't matter if you only get through a tiny, tiny portion of your paper. You want to get started now, no excuses. So when we talk about paper organizing, there's a mental process and no wonder I couldn't find my other glasses. There's a mental process and there's a physical process. So the mental process includes like how to sort, like what is this system in your brain? And that is that 4-section system. And when we talk about it with paper, it's just 3 sections because there is no alphanumeric really, right? If you have paper that has alphabets on it, it's usually in some other category. So you're looking at themes and sentiments, the calendar year, and the rainbow. Themes and sentiments are pretty easy. The calendar year is pretty easy. Those things make sense to us, right? It's birthday paper, it's going in the birthday section. It's Christmas paper, it's going in the winter section. The challenge for most people when it comes to paper is the rainbow and the colored paper and multiple colors on a sheet of paper. So one thing I want to encourage you to do is take a deep breath about sorting your paper and repeat this mantra. Perfect is the enemy of good. I need a good system, not a perfect system. I need to let go of thinking and worrying about where that paper goes. Once you get your paper organized and accessible, it's going to be so much easier to get to your paper and to find what you need. And if you come across things that aren't where they should be or where you thought maybe they won't be, you can pull them out and put them and move them. It's just that simple. So don't get hung up on the little stuff. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for getting through that sorting process, but just keep that in mind. Perfect is the enemy of good. I need a good system, not a perfect system. Okay, prints, patterns, and multiple colors. General rule of thumb, put that paper into the category that is that you like most or that jumps out most for you, right? This is all personal. This is all about you and your paper and your stash and you finding it. So if a paper is mostly pink and pink is the color that you love and pink jumps out at you, then you're going to put it in the pink section. Within each section of my system, I'm going to have light to dark. I'm going to have paper and cardstock together. I'm going to have different sizes of paper together. I'm going to go light to dark in each section, and then I'm going to follow that with prints and patterns and with some consistency. So all the dots together, all the stripes together, all the plaids together, all the distress together, all the glitter in that color group together, right? So one of the things you want to avoid doing is separating your glitter paper from your vellum paper, from your cardstock, from your regular paper stock, because the goal is when you want to work that's pink, you see what all your pink options are, and you're not having to tax your brain and say, do I have any more paper? Where is it? You want to see everything together. Now, that might require that you have some protective sheets. Some of our glitter is the sparklies come off of it. So you might want to put that in a sleeve. I'll talk about that later. Just like last week, at the very end of class, I'll go through some product options that offer. But so there are solutions for everything that you might come across. Vellum, also delicate. There's a few other like velvet papers and that type of thing you might want to protect, but you still want to have them all together. Keep things together, you use together. You only want to look in one place for what you're looking for. If you have paper that has a rainbow of color, there is no real defining factor. It is absolutely okay to have a section in your rainbow that is called rainbow. So I think I showed recently, I might have something in here that fits that category. I'll see if we come across it as I'm sorting, but it's absolutely okay to do that. Again, when you're putting those in, you might have plaids or dots or stripes, and you want to keep those things together as you're looking for those background papers. Maybe you're going to go light to dark. Maybe you have some pastel rainbow, and then brights and then darks, all of those things. So you want to have some sort of order of things so that it's easy to fan through and look. But it's okay to have that rainbow section at the end. What is not okay? A miscellaneous category. Okay, there is no miscellaneous in organization. I talked about this briefly last week. Miscellaneous, way over here. Organization, way over here. They just don't go together. Yes?
Do you store your 8.5 by 11 or A4 paper with your 12 by 12 paper?
Yes, I would store, I store all of my paper together. Now, remember this, what kind of crafter you are, how you craft, when you craft, why you craft, right? Some people, and then you have also some collections by designers, right, that you may want to have a designer section, and that might be a smaller size or a different size, especially in the UK when you have a lot more A4 than we do 8.5 by 11. We have the majority of our paper in the US that's 8.5 by 11 is solid colored cardstock. We have mostly 12 by 12. So all of those things you're going to play into. The beauty of having all of those sizes together is that you only have to look in one place, right? One place for birthday, one place for Halloween. And I'm going to show you some of that in paper storage boxes as well and how to work with that. If you want to keep your papers separated by size, I would still recommend separate it by size within the same category, right? So you may have a 6x6 paper handler that's holiday next to your 8.5 by 11 A4 paper handler that's holiday next to your 12 by 12 paper handler that's holiday. And then if you want to look for Christmas, at least it's all geographically in one place, so you can look in all three boxes. But don't put 6x6 paper over here, A4 paper over here, and 12 by 12 paper back here, because then you're going to have to go around looking for it. So keep it all contained in the same place if you feel like you need to keep it separated by size. All right. What are the exceptions when we talk about sorting paper? Remember, your biggest goal is to be able to find things quickly and easily. And this means that if you're keeping things together, you use together. So if you bought something very specific, pink floral paper to use on your daughter's ballet pages, you're going to take that pink floral paper and you're going to store it with ballet. You bought it with ballet. You want to use it with ballet. In your head, it is ballet paper, even though it has flowers on it, right? It matches the other pink embellishments that are ballet centric. So they're all there in the ballet section of your scrap rack or in your Ziploc bag or your folder, whatever choice you made or are making for organizing your supplies. It's all together. Once you do those ballet pages, you can take the scraps or the leftover paper and then move it over, and I strongly recommend that you should, into your pink floral section, right? But what you want to do is whatever you bought, we're going to talk about shopping with intention now. What was your intention when you bought that product? Why did you buy it? Because that's where you want to be able to find it. So there are some exceptions to the rule, and they always are going to revolve around keeping things together, you use together. Why did you buy that product and what else are you going to use it with, right? And then again, when you finish the project, those things might disperse out into other areas of your storage system, but you want to find that ballet stuff first thing around. Okay, nothing bad is going to happen if you make a mistake where you put paper, 2 sheets, 10 sheets, 100 sheets. Like if I could say to all of you right now, raise your hand if you have enough paper that if you got to craft a little bit every day for the rest of your life, you could do it without ever having to buy another sheet of paper, right? There are a lot of us who have thousands, tens of thousands, or some even sheets of paper. So don't worry about getting a few sheets wrong, because you are going to be able to find something beautiful and amazing in the right category. And then, like I said, later you might find something that's you put in the pink category, but really looking at it, you think more lavender, and you can just move it to the purple category, right? So nothing bad is going to happen. Go with your gut. The big trick, and I think Barb Carlson mentioned this last week, is doing it quickly. You do not want to get yourself overwhelmed or weighted down, and you want to see progress. So as you're sorting your paper, you need to be making decisions about where that paper goes fairly quickly. I mean, like, just look at it and pop it in, right? Pop it in to your system. Boom, boom, boom. That's all you want to do. When you start to think too much, that is when you start to get overwhelmed and your brain starts to shut down. Okay. So if you get to a point, and this is at any point during the organization process, and you can't make a quick decision anymore, or you're starting to feel overwhelmed, that is your mind, your body saying to you, okay, stand up, go outside, take a walk, get a cup of coffee, grab a glass of wine. This is starting to get overwhelming and it's not productive anymore, and just walk away from it. So the timer, if that happens for you, also the timer suggestion that we got this morning could be really helpful in that situation, because if you're not banging along, the alarm will go off and you'll be able to walk away, and you'll have this sense of structure and plan that you're executing, and all of those things are really, really great for your brain, right? So use all of those tools. Some people, I had a lady tell me one time that you shouldn't do those things because, and not that you shouldn't, but that she had a hard time doing those things because she felt like she was tricking her brain. And I was like, well, I don't know so much that you're tricking your brain. And even if you are, what difference does it make? You're moving forward with your project, and that is your goal. So if you need to think about it as tricking your brain, have at it. One really interesting thing about your brain is that sounds weird, right? So some of you have seen a tour of my nightstand and the books on my nightstand. My son is behind the camera today, and he will attest to you that my nightstand is loaded down with books about how your brain works on every level, right? Physiology, psychology, all of it, daily life. Your brain only thinks what you tell it to think, right? You can change your thinking at any time if you are willing to say, I'm not going to think that anymore. The brain is a crazy machine, and if you keep telling it something, it buys into that, right? That's how news works, right? They keep telling you something, telling you something, telling you something. You buy into it because you hear it all the time, right? If you're a parent, that's how parenting works, right? You're constantly telling your kids, don't touch the hot stove, don't touch the hot stove, don't run in the street, don't run in the street, right? It all gets in your brain. And so that is how your brain works. So if you want to change the way you think or the way you feel about something, you just have to tell yourself. I'm oversimplifying. It takes time and effort, and there's a fair amount of frustration, but it is a workable thing. So don't be afraid to tell your brain what you want it to think. All right, I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention to Katie here.
Also, we're having some choppiness issues with our stream. I'm getting word up from the comments here.
Oh,
I don't know why though.
Do you have full bars on the Wi-Fi? Is that?
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know, maybe you guys could comment if you're on YouTube. Are you getting things clearly? If you're on Facebook, are you getting things clearly? And maybe there's something we can tweak in our production next week for you. Okay, what do you do with kits and stacks, right? Stacks of paper, paper pads, and kits that you got. The most important thing, I'm not advocating or encouraging anyone to completely pull apart stacks of paper or pull apart kits. What I want you to do is start thinking about how to connect things together, right? So as an example, this is not a kit, but this is kind of a kit, I guess. This is a paper pack that also included stickers and embellishments. It's called Country Kitchen. It's by Cartabella. So I want to keep all of this paper and the stickers and the embellishments together, but I also, and I don't want to put it all in my scrap rack. It's the category called kitchen, which means I don't have tons of kitchen paper in my paper storage boxes. I'm going to talk at the end about choosing storage and why you would use a scrap rack, why you would use paper storage boxes, or why you would use both. So rather than forgetting that I have it, I'm going to take this kitchen. This is the insert from the packaging, right? It may be the cover of your paper stack. It may be that you photocopy that or you print something from the internet. I mean, there's a plethora of ways to get this information. And I'm going to take this Country Kitchen insert, and it's part of Cartabella. So if you collect particular brands, in this case, Cartabella, and you want to keep all of that brand together, right? Used to be super popular with brands like Basic Gray or those things where we collected all those collections that had multiple pieces. This is now in this collection of paper and embellishments is on my paper cart in the Cartabella group. This is in the home and family section of my scrap rack. And I know because I keep Cartabella separately that it's in the Cartabella section. But if you need to put some sort of sticky note on something in that section, but all this is doing is reminding you that you have this and where it is. So rather than separating the stickers and embellishments or stuffing it all in the scrap rack or spending tons of time sorting, separating, organizing it, I want you to think about ways that you can tie things together and make them visible and accessible. So when I go to the home and family section of my scrap rack looking for things that are around food, that is going to pop up for me. I'm going to see it when I flip through, and I'm going to go to the paper cart, and I'm going to grab that whole collection right off the paper cart, right? So whether you're putting your collection in a Scrap Master or you've just got it in a big pocket or a collection keeper, if it's a smaller collection, that's going to be a perfect way. You just want to remind yourself, A, that you have it, and B, where it is. So a good way to do that. Same idea with kits, right? So I've got the Stephanie Bernard kits up here, and they're labeled, right? The Halloween kit, I have a note in of what's in that kit. I just printed it off the internet. What's in that kit in the Halloween section, and it tells me the month and year of that it was in what it is. So when I'm ready to use that, I flip through Halloween. Oh, I want to use this stamp or these embellishments or any of that kind of stuff that's in that kit. I can go here, pull it off the shelf, and have it. Once I use up a majority of what's in that box, I'm going to put the little bits of leftovers, bits and bobs into my scrap rack and get rid of the box so I don't need that note anymore. But remember, your goal is to be able to find things and remember that you've got them. Paper stacks are a beast because we love to buy them. We get a great deal on them. There's so many wonderful things in them, but it's easy to forget that we have them and not get the best use out of them if they're stacked up in a closet somewhere. So I'm really going to recommend that you do the same thing with your paper stacks. Get them right in with all the rest of your paper, and we're going to talk about actual tools for storing paper again later in the presentation, but get them linked together. So this is Halloween paper. It's going to go in the fall section of holidays and seasons in my paper storage system. This is the summer stack. It is all summer papers. It is going to go on the shelf with the rest in the holidays and seasons in the summer section. I'm going to take a sticky note, which I should have right here, but I don't, so I'm going to borrow this one. I'm going to store this vertically. I'm going to put a sticky note on it that says summer paper designs, and I'm going to slide it right in with everything else. So now when I want to get to this, I'm not digging down through a stack of paper or pile of stacks. I haven't stuffed it into the closet or put it under the table in a stack on the floor where I'm never going to remember it. I just integrated it right into my 4-section system. Now, if it's standing there, I can just thumb through it and say, okay, yeah, I want to use that paper, and pull it off the shelf and use it, and then slide it right back in. This is a giant paper pad. I don't want you to take it all apart. I just want you to be sure that you're putting it somewhere that's easy for you to access it and remember that you have it. The other nice thing about this is once you start grouping all of these things together, you're going to see what you have a lot of. So if you go to your, themes or your holiday and seasons, and you see, I have 6 summer paper stacks. I probably don't need to be buying any more of that, or I need to probably start purging it. Remember, paper crafting, all crafting actually, is fashion forward, right? Colors, styles, design, texture, all of those things mimic what's happening in the world, what's happening with fashion that you wear, what's happening with home decor. If you don't believe me, look at home decor right now. Everything is muted tones of grays, taupes, very soft and gentle. If you walk down the paper aisle and start looking at printed and patterned paper, you are going to see all of these earthy tones with metallics mixed in, which is what's really popular in fashion right now as well, right? It's almost frustrating because if you don't want your house to be gray and white, it's hard to find anything that's not gray and white. And I probably don't need to tell all of you this. Gray and white are not my thing. Pink, purple, turquoise, lime, orange, those are my thing. All right. Okay, so paper stacks. Moving on. Okay, let's talk about the physical process. Now that we understand mentally, what are we going to do with all these things? How are we actually going to get that done? So my first recommendation for you is that you go vertical. It isn't often that I say one specific thing is better than other things for organizing. I mean, obviously, I think my things are the best things, but when we're talking about paper, vertical storage just makes so much more sense. Why? It's easier to get to all the paper throughout your whole storage system, right? Your paper is probably going to stay in better condition because it has more protection. So some of us bought those paper storage racks, the flat racks that they had at scrapbook stores, and you can still buy them online. And when you think about those flat racks, flat shelves, those were designed for paper that was all the same. So if you were looking at a paper rack in a store, every sheet of paper in that shelf was the same. It was 25 sheets of identical Christmas paper, 25 sheets of identical Halloween paper. You pulled what you needed off the top and went and paid for it. Well, when you have all of your paper in that, let's say Christmas, in that flat rack, you have to take it all out of the flat rack to thumb through it and find what you need, right? And then you have to put it all back, or it has to sit on your desk, that whole stack of paper, flat, taking up 12.5 inches of space, a foot basically of space on your desk, a square foot of space. But if you're taking out a paper storage box or a paper handler or some other vertical different brand, there's a whole bunch of brands of vertical storage. Now you're only taking up 12 inches by 3 inches of workspace on your desk. Even better you can set that box next to you on the floor if you're not in your own craft room, where you can just flip through it in the shelf behind you. And then you can thumb through it and pull out what you need. And you're not taking up any space on your workspace, right? So vertical storage is great for storing, great for access, great for transporting paper. So it's a win on all these levels, which is another thing about the horizontal storage, the shelf storage. It's very difficult to take it with you. So that's my big recommendation here. Now, it's also really beneficial when you're sorting paper. So when you're sorting paper, you're going to go one of two ways. You're going to go vertical, which I'm going to show you in a moment, or you're going to go flat. And again, sorting paper flat takes up a ton of space. If you're sorting flat, you're going to make yourself some sorting templates that follow along your themes and sentiments list, right? And then also incorporate alphabets and numbers and the rainbow, theme, sentiments, calendar, year. And this is what you're going to use to sort your paper. So you're going to put them out and learn from my mistakes. The first time I did this, I made my sorting templates on 12 by 12 paper. Well, what happens when you sort something that's 12 by 12 onto a 12 by 12 sheet of paper? You cover it up, right? So then I went to the dollar store and I got 12 by 18 paper, and the first 6 inches are all the themes or categories or colors that I'm going to sort into this pile. And then this 12 by 12 side right here was where I sorted all the paper onto. So I could see the categories and still stack the paper. You are going to use these for paper and for all of your other embellishment, sticker, sorting stuff as we go through the rest of the challenges. If you're going to sort your paper vertically, you don't need them for paper because you can do it in a vertical paper storage box. So I'm going to show you quickly. We're going to go through this quick process of, my phone just beeped. So let me see what Katie's asking me here. Oh, question. I have paper on USBs and DVDs to print and use. How would you record that you have those? Would you put a sample or thumbnail of each paper printed out in your 4-section system, scrap rack, or somewhere else? Boy, I would say the best way to do that, I don't know how many you have, but it seems like that could be really overwhelming and cumbersome. I don't know enough about those programs and those DVDs to know if, in fact, I would think the first thing to do would be to download your DVDs onto a terabyte or 2 terabyte external drive, along with all of those things together in one place, and then label them so that you can sort them. So Christmas, colors, whatever it is, whatever way you would want to look for them. If your paper, so following that same thing. So if you had paper, if you had a DVD that was all Christmas paper, Christmas designs, Christmas embellishments, when you hit the search on that hard drive, it would pop up all of those things that you have. Now, if there's a picture of each of the things that's going to pop up, that is going to be amazing because it'll all be an electronic search. But I don't know how many you have. I would suspect that printing, even putting thumbnails together and printing them out, would be a huge task. If the manufacturers are doing a good job with sort of previews and labeling, then that's going to be better for you. Otherwise, I would just relabel them. And then I would put a note in my scrap rack or wherever that says, don't forget to check your digitals, right? Because what you just want to do is prompt yourself to remember what you've got. And the beauty of digital stuff is that you can label all of it and then you can search it out for exactly what you need. Green, Christmas, paper, gold, metallic gold, whatever it is. I don't know, you can print your own metallic golds. That might not be a thing, but you get what I'm saying, right? Easter, Christmas, birthday, bright colors, kid birthday, the things that you might search for if they're not already labeled like that. But I would put everything into one drive if you can, so that you're not, here's a DVD, or, where is that DVD? Because that's the next thing is now you got to find the DVD. So that would be my first suggestion, is consolidate it all in one digital storage place. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to take it off a DVD and move it into a big drive. I have a 24-year-old son who knows how to do all of those things. So my advice to you is if you don't have a kid that can handle your technology, adopt one. That is what I've got. Okay, so let's talk about physically sorting using paper storage boxes or something similar. So we'll see, we might need to zoom in a little bit on this to get that. Oh, one more question popped up here. What do you do with 12 by 12 cardstock that has multiple tags and cards that need to be punched out? Where do you file them? I would probably keep those in my scrap rack. They're more of an embellishment actually than, in my head, those 12 by 12 sheet of paper with the punch outs that used to be super popular for brands like, well, even this one had some punch out stuff like that. But if they're just colors like red or blue or birthday or Halloween or whatever they are, I would put them right into that category by color and then probably in my scrap rack. But you could also put them in one of the protective sleeves, like a paper pocket or P40, a supersized single, to protect them because you don't want them to get too roughed up and punch out. So that's a good definition of that. But you definitely want to put them where you're going to use them. So if they came with a collection, they're probably going to stay within that collection, but in a protective pocket. And if they're just like a theme, sentiment, or color, they're going to go right in your color section. But again, in that protected pocket. And I will talk about that once we get through sorting. Okay, so I use my themes and sentiments list to create my dividers for my box. And this is an abbreviated make of this class, but I'm following that same thing. So I have got alphabets, themes and sentiments A to Z. Those are my first tabs. And then I've got winter, spring, summer, fall. And then I've got the rainbow. So I have, and you'll notice that when I did my dividers, I used sticky notes on my holidays and seasons section and sticky notes on my themes and sentiments A to Z, but I used permanent labeling on my colors. Colors we know are not going to change. That's not going to change. That is a thing. It's a rainbow. It's always the same. However, themes and sentiments calendar year, as you go through and start organizing, you are probably going to change the words and the placement and all that stuff. So I did not permanently label those. Now, I'm using what we call a junky paper storage box. They come in sets of 5, but I'm only going to start with one box, right? I'm going to put all my dividers in one box, and then.
What are the dividers you have in that box?
The dividers are the paper storage box dividers. I got to fold my box bottom in a little better here, it looks like. Paper storage box dividers, the SKU on them is A06. Oh, did I just break it? The SKU on them is A06. They're on the website. If you search paper storage box dividers or A06, when you get them, they come. Let me get to my pile of dividers here because they're a little bit confusing when they arrive at your home. They're going to come in a package. So this is them. You get 10 in a pack. But when they arrive at your house, they're going to think you only got 5 because they're like this in the packaging. Why are they like that? Because I wanted you to be able to use them 2 ways. I wanted you to be able to use them in your paper storage box with the tabs. If you're using your box forward like this with the pull hole in it, I wanted them to stick off over this tab. But if you're using them in your box tipped on its side, then I wanted you to be able to turn them back to back and be able to see them all the way up and down the side. So that is why they are designed that way. Why would you do that? Why would you put your paper storage box on its side when it's not designed to do that? You would do that for easy access to your paper. It's easier to pull in and out of the box when it's straight up and down. The boxes are engineered to stand up. So that's what the way the bottom of this is designed. You get that nice fold like I did with this one, pop it, and that's going to get it to stand up. If you're using them on their back, that isn't how they were designed. They work great that way. You just have to make sure you're bookending them, right? So whether you're using my brand or someone else's brand, if they're tipping over, it's because they're not designed to go this way. So just, put them in a place where their book ends so that they don't tip, and they'll work great. And then you can pull your paper in and out. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Left side note there. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take that stack of paper and you are going to, so here's my first tip about a stack of paper. Your paper goes two ways. It's longer. Some paper is longer because it has the tab, and some paper doesn't have the tab, so it's just straight 12 by 12, right? You want all of your paper to go the same way. Let's see if you can get this here. So that it's as even as it can possibly be, right? So if you put some up and some down, then you're going to have this problem with bending at the top or whatever, because you don't have as much protection on the paper. So I would try to get all your paper going the same way so that you have all the tall direction going the same direction, etc. That makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense. All right. Then you're going to take your stack of paper, and when we go through the challenge, you don't need to sort every piece of paper in your craft room in one go. I don't even want you to do that. Well, this is another benefit to using vertical storage. I want you to take a stack of paper, whatever you have time for. So one of the things I didn't talk about before last week is one of the problems that happens in an organization project, in almost in any project, there's potential for this to happen, is that you start organizing your stuff and you have it spread out, and it's sort of a worse before it gets better thing. And then something happens and you need that space, and you took on too much stuff and you didn't have time to finish it. And so now all of a sudden you're pulling all that stuff together and throwing it into a tote. And your brain says, well, that didn't work. We need a new system. When really it wasn't that didn't work. It was just that you ran out of time to go from start to finish in that project. So you don't want that to happen. You don't want to have to be backtracking. That is going to cause you to be overwhelmed and to think that your system isn't working. It is more about starting small, finishing, getting another stack, finishing, and keep going that way. It gives you so much more flexibility. Ties in nicely with the 20 minutes recommendation we got from Robin this morning as well. So you've got your stack of paper, and one other thing I wanted to show you that I did here for the purpose of my demo. These are the three categories, beach, baby, birthday, that are under B in my themes and sentiments list. So I made these sticky notes and I just stuck them onto my sorting template. We'll move them up to the top here now. So as I start going through and finding things that fit those categories, I can take this sticky note and tab them. So I'm going to reduce the amount of, after sorting that I need to do. So here's my box. I'm going to do this backwards. Hopefully, let me make sure. I just heard another little bong from my phone here. Okay, so I'm just going to go through. This is a beach paper, right? I'm going to go to the B tab. I'm going to drop the beach paper in, and I'm going to take that beach sticky note and I'm going to stick it right on the paper. So now the next piece of beach paper that I find, here's birthday, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stick it on there. BI comes after BE, so that goes back there. Here's a whole collection of paper called Beach Day. Now this has some of those punch out tags in it. This is all one collection. I want to keep that collection together. I've just put it into one of our 12 by 12 tabs, and now I'm going to go to the beach section of with my tab, and I'm going to throw that in there. So as I'm working through, this is travel paper. I'm going to go to T for travel, and I'm going to put that. I'm just going to drop it into the box. Old World, also a travel collection. This is I picked up some other paper here. This is in a 12 by 12 scrap rack, supersized single pocket, right? There's about 18 sheets of paper in there. It's a travel thing. I'm going to go back here. Pretty much the only thing under T for me is travel, but I have this labeled. I'm keeping the collection together. Here's some spring paper. I'm going to go to my spring tab. So now, as I work through, this is all summer paper. I started with paper that was pre-sorted, but I'm keeping things together. I'm going to use together. I'm keeping collections of paper together, and I'm tagging and labeling them whenever it's appropriate. So make sure you get yourself some Shut Your Flap tabs or some other sort of labeling tabs. The reason I like the Shut Your Flap tabs, picnic paper. This brings up a question. Does this go under P for picnic? Possibly, if that is how you think about picnics. For me, I'm thinking about that as a summer activity, right? Picnicking. Now, for those of you who know, I live in Arizona, so we can picnic here pretty much all year. But mentally, I think about picnic as a summer activity, and that is where I'm probably going to go to look for that. Halloween paper, that's going into fall. Christmas paper is going into winter. Now, on my fall tabs, I would probably have, like I did with B, I would have Thanksgiving, back to school, Halloween. I would have a sticky tab for those as well, so that I'm ready to pre-sort that. Christmas, almost everything in winter for me is Christmas, right? What is it for you? That's the question. Do you have a winter section that you are going to separate out New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or something along those lines, maybe snow, something, you might go about it that way. It's really important going through that exercise of knowing yourself. So now I'm into colors, red, pink, knowing yourself, how you craft, how you're going to think about things as you go. Into greens here. Now you're going to come across green dots, green stripes, green florals, and you're going to put them into that green section in that order, right? Like keeping your solid colors together, light to dark, keeping your black, white, neutral. Now, that is something I did mention it briefly last time, that you should have, the rainbow does not include black, white, brown, neutral, and the metallic. So you probably want to have those tabs. If those are themes, categories, colors that you use, you want to have those. So here I've got blue stripes. I'm going to go to my blue section. I'm going to go to the very back of blue, and I'm going to group this right in with the rest of the blue stripes, blue plaids, blue dots. I'm starting with one paper storage box, and it's working right now for how much paper I have. But as I add more paper and start the next big bundle, at that point, I'm going to take that second paper storage box or paper handler, whatever it is that you're using, and I'm going to go to about the halfway point on my sorting, and I am going to put half of it in this box and half of it in this box, and then I'm going to keep sorting. So I want to keep everything as condensed as possible while I'm working, but I want to keep everything in order when I go to the next box. I'm just going to split it and move, split it and move, split it and move. And then at the very end is when I'm going to actually go, okay, now I'm going to say this is themes and sentiments, or this is how this is going to go on the shelf. And then I might do some more rearranging. But in the process of organizing, I want to work one box at a time. Why is that important? It's important for two reasons. First reason is, when you're actually doing the sorting, you want to keep your workspace neat and tidy and to a minimum. So that if someone comes into your office, or you're sorting at the dining room table or wherever you are, and they say, we need this space, or we need to eat dinner, we need to clear the table, you can just pick up your stack of paper and your box or a couple of boxes and move them out of the way. And you're not disrupting your flow, and you're not disrupting your system, and everything that has been sorted is staying sorted. Right? Really important that you can keep that stuff contained and get through that start to finish easily. And if you get interrupted, you are prepared to be able to go right back and finish your project. Let's see. Gloria Russet says, when do you decide to separate categories such as beach and summer? Is it by how much paper you have in each category? Yes and no. So for me, beach is a separate category from, well, I shouldn't say that. Beach could be a separate category from summer, again, depending on who you are and where you live. So the next step after you've sorted is deciding how you're going to store what paper, right? So, and I'm going to talk about scraps in a minute too. So for me, I have tons of travel paper. That is my weakness, right? I can almost not pass up travel paper, period. I have way too much travel paper to put in my scrap rack in a reasonable way. So within my themes and sentiments, I'm going to leave my travel paper in the paper storage box in the themes and sentiments section of the paper storage box. This is really common. Disney paper. People have tons of Disney paper, right? So I'm going to leave it in the paper storage box, but I'm going to stay within the section system. Something like Halloween, which I have very few sheets of Halloween paper. I'm not going to put that in the themes in the holiday and season section of my paper storage on my cart. And London's going to show you my cart in just a minute. I'm going to put that in my scrap rack with the rest of my Halloween embellishments and stuff. I just don't have a lot of it. The ideal, the perfect solution, which we know, perfect is the enemy of good, but is to have everything in one place. So ideally, when you go to the Christmas section of your scrap rack, you would see all of your Christmas paper, all of your embellishments, all of your card blanks, your stamps, your die options, the catalog of other Christmas punches and those types of things. They'd be in one place. But the reality is, it doesn't work well to do that. So that's where that sort of compromise comes in of some things are going to go in a paper storage box and stay there, and some things are going to come out of your sorting system and go into your scrap rack. Or some people are using like pizza boxes by theme or scrap masters by theme. So those things are going to come out of your box and go into that section and then go wherever you're going to store them. So that's really the important factor is this decision is, how much do I have and where is it going to fit best? Keeping in mind that the best choice is to keep as much stuff together as you possibly can. Now, with something like travel as an example, when I'm working on travel pages, I am then going to just go to my paper storage cart, pull the travel box or the box that has travel in it off the cart and bring it to my workstation. So now I've got my scrap rack with all the travel goodies, and I've got all the
Like when we give it too much traffic, the bandwidth decreases enough that the signal strength drops.
We have too much traffic. Here we go. We're back.
We're back. We're about 300 people short of what we were before.
Oh, no. Well, we're recording, so people drop off. It's all going to be posted. It's all going to be on YouTube posted, and then it's going to be posted on our Facebook page as well. So, question from Andrea Gillantine. So, do you mix single sheets in with paper pads when sorting? Yes and no. I don't know. Let's take this summer paper as an example. Here's my summer paper pad. It is self-sufficient in its ability to stand up and stay together, right? It's not individual single sheets of paper. So if I was going to put this in with my summer stuff, I would not put it in the box with all the rest of the summer paper because it's just taking up a ton of space in the box. What I would do was say, okay, this is my box of holiday and season, and it would be labeled on the front, maybe I only have 2 seasons in there. I might say, summer and fall or spring and summer. I would take the paper storage. I would take the paper pad. Here's my next box. I would take that paper pad and put a sticky note on it that says summer paper, and I would slide it right in between the two. So I would, if I was pulling paper for summer, I could pull the summer paper storage box, and right in that moment, I would also know that I had this big summer pad of paper that I could also go through and make those choices for whatever paper I needed. So I'm keeping them together next to each other, easily accessible, visible. I'm going to remember that they're there, but if I am going to pull them out, I'm going to pull them out this box or this pad separately. Now, at the point that I go through a majority of the paper in this pad and it becomes just, 25, 30 sheets of paper, something like that, or the pad starts to get wambly and it won't stand up, or it's not easy to slide in and out, or the cover falls off, or any of those things, at that point, I'm going to throw it right into the paper storage box. So keep in mind, going back to, you need a good system, not a perfect system. And so try not to overthink it. And always sort of the bottom line is, am I keeping things together, combine and conquer, that I'm going to use together? Is this the easiest possible way for me to find all of the summer things that I need, right? So that's kind of the big question there. Oh, I also lost Katie here. Let's see, there we go. All right. Okay, now I talked a little bit about different paper sizes. Same thing with this Halloween paper pad. I would put it right in the Halloween section or the Halloween box, and it would be smallest to largest, but it would be right there in with Halloween, so that I remembered I had this little Halloween paper pad. It would just be front and center in that box. So don't be afraid to mix up those different paper sizes. Okay, now that you've got paper sorted, what are you doing, or what have you been doing with all of those scraps? And there are lots of ways to sort, store, and organize your scraps. I'll give you a couple of ideas. Number one, your basic file folder, okay? Small to large scraps. When inside the file folder, put things in small to large. If this is what you're using, it doesn't matter that scraps are sticking off the edge, because the file folder is only 8.5 by 11, but your scrap is 12 inches long, because you are going to put that in your paper storage box, in this case red, in the red section, right? I'm going to let my 12 by 12 drop to the other way, the other direction of my box here. And I'm just going to slide that in, label it scraps, and I'm going to put it right in the very front of the red section. So now if I want scraps, I'm going to be able to pull out that file folder and go through the scraps that I have, push it back in, right? Not worry about it. So you can do something cheap, fast, and easy, like the file folder. Works, not perfect, but it does work. This is a paper pocket. Same idea. I've got my smaller scraps in the front. I've got all my green scraps together. It's going to go here behind the green tab. I usually put my scraps in the front of every category. It's going to go behind green. And now as I make scraps or need scraps, I can just go to one-stop shopping on the scraps. Last option for scrap storage is something like a Scrap Master. This is designed specifically for scraps. It has pockets in a variety of sizes, pocket on the front, pocket on the back, pockets on the inside that gusset out. So you can keep all your scraps together by color. One thing people love to do with this is a total side benefit. When I designed this product, I didn't think about it. The side pockets are designed to gusset out, which is why there's space in the middle. So if these are all gusseted out, you still can close the folder and it's going to stay nice and neat in that fold. But what people are doing and have done, which is brilliant, I think it's a great idea, is smaller categories. Let's see if I have one here. Oh, that's a real thing. It's a real thing. We're here. Okay, kind of a mix up of paper pockets, paper pockets, paper pockets. Oh, getting close. This looks like, here we go. Here we go. So this is all Christmas scraps, and the middle section is Christmas cardstock. So depending on how much paper you have, too big a category for your scrap rack, but you want to keep it all together in your paper storage box, you can have your scraps in the pockets and your 12 by 12 in the middle. And then this is also going to fit. So this is Christmas. So in this case, I would go back here to winter and I would pop that right in. And now I've got those scraps and that paper that all coordinate with that big collection in one Scrap Master. And the Scrap Master is back in stock. Just came back in stock on Friday. So if you are looking, maybe Katie can get an example of that up from the Scrap Master. Diana Regal Dawson, who took the challenge years ago, shared an idea. Oh, I have to backtrack because one thing I didn't talk about was purging as you go. So I'm just going to back up a little bit. When you start sorting your scraps, before you start doing that, I want you to choose a minimum scrap size. It's going to be different for everybody. For me, 6 by 12, 6 by 6 are kind of the ideal scrap size, minimum scrap size, because there's maximum use of those things, right? For card makers, smaller scraps are more prevalent and used more often. My challenge to you is to come up with a minimum scrap size, and at the end of every project, and as you go through sorting things, anything that doesn't meet that minimum, cast it out. Put it in your purge box, put it in your donate box, wherever whatever makes you feel good about getting those things out. And I know some people say, well, I use a lot of scraps, and that is a personal, that's what I'm talking about. Know yourself, choose your minimum scrap size, but also keep in mind, you have thousands of sheets of paper, and do you want to spend your time digging through scraps to find something that might possibly work, or do you want to take some of that beautiful paper that you've invested your money in and actually use it to create amazing projects, right? So remember, paper gets damaged, it gets faded on the edges, the corners get beat up or the edges get beat up, and it's fashion forward. If you look at some of the things that you have in your collection that you've had maybe 5, 7, 10 years, the colors, the style, the design work has changed so much and gotten so much better. The way that you craft has gotten so much more sophisticated, so much better, that you may look at that paper and would never use this anymore, right? But had you used it in the moment that you bought it, or in the time zone that you bought it, it would have been more appropriate in every level, including sort of documenting the history of paper crafting, because for those of us who've been doing it for years, the paper has really changed and really improved the quality, the look, the style. It's kind of amazing. So it is fun to look at those older scrapbooks or those older cards and say, oh my gosh, look at that paper. It was so hideous, but it was appropriate to the time. So as you're sorting and organizing and purging, for those of you who went through the Purge Patrol video, you want to keep the things that you love and that you're going to use, but you don't want to be constantly digging past things that you don't love, that you won't use, right? So love it or lose it is sort of my philosophy, because most of us have so many craft supplies that we only need to use, or that we only will use, the things we love.
Love it, lose it, or use it.
London adds another thing. Love it, lose it, or use it, or purge it. All right, so we talked a little bit already about how to store your paper, right? You can do paper storage boxes, you can do the scrap rack, or whatever, however else you're going to organize the rest of those supplies. So 12 by 12 boxes, file folders, Ziploc bags. Probably the right solution is a hybrid of both, right? Some stuff in your scrap rack or storage boxes, some stuff in your paper storage boxes on your shelf. And so I will let London scroll down for a minute with the camera and take a look at the
paper cart.
Yeah, at the paper cart. So the new paper cart comes out on Home Shopping Network on the 13th of this month, right? In like 2 weeks, right around the 1st right now, aren't we? Or is it 1st? Something like that. Tomorrow's the 1st. That's got to be 2 weeks from today, because it's always on Tuesday. So the new paper storage cart, 2 levels. It's going to, I believe the bundle that they have on HSN comes with 5 paper handlers. If you need more paper handlers, they should have on HSN another bundle of paper handlers if you want to fill both shelves of it. Sure, I don't know how it's loaded up down there. Mine also has, with the mine also has a tabletop on it. The new cart doesn't have the apron that wraps all the way around. Instead, it has those side panel aprons, and those are wide enough and the pockets are big enough that you could actually put in your Cricut cutting mats, even the 12 by 24 version, your 12 by 12 cutting mat, regular cutting mat, and even some of the bigger paper trimmers. So like the big Crafter's Companion guillotine trimmer is going to fit in there. If you're using it without the top on it, it also is going to fit our binder notebooks, our 12 by 12 plastic notebooks. And hesitant to let London show you this because it's kind of a mess, but what the heck? Can you see that? Can you rotate the camera to see that?
Maybe. So
he can show you. If you're using it with the notebooks on the top, the tabletop doesn't fit on it, right? You can't use the tabletop at that point.
This right
so
here.
Yeah, so a couple of binders are on there upside down, so that just gives you a peek into the world. Last week was kind of crazy, as most of you know, but we did a live every day for 7 days, and so things were kind of a little bit hectic in the studio for us. So, all right. Okay, so again, that'll be on HSN on Craft Day, which is in 2 weeks. They have a limited number of them, as always. We have 2 shows scheduled right now, 2 appearances on HSN that day. One is at 1 a.m. Eastern Time. The second is at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So you do not have to wait for the presentation on them to get one. So if you know it's something that you want, I'll probably do another presentation really in depth in the studio before HSN, kind of as a, what is this all about? Sometimes on HSN, I don't have as much time to kind of go over the features and benefits of a product. So I will do that prior to the show. Probably the Tuesday, after Tuesday Live even, maybe on that Tuesday. So you get the full scoop on that. You're welcome to ask questions, customer service questions here. I'll happily answer them. But the beauty of the paper cart is that you can pull it up right next to your workspace, right? You've seen me with everything. I'm just all about wheels. So it's a great option for that. Re-engineered, new wheels, different wheels, new top. We've really, like, every time we come out with something, we sort of level up on it. We figure out what people liked, what worked best, and then we do the next thing. And you're definitely going to find that that is the case with this cart.
As somebody who uses the old paper cart for their tech cart, the new paper cart is very nice.
Yes, London has the old cart. That is what happens when you get the hand-me-downs, right? I'm getting the new things and passing it along. However, London does get to assemble all of the new things that come into the studio. So there it is. All right, let's talk about tips for success this week in getting your paper storage, your paper organized. Do things in small pieces. I know I have said this repeatedly through today's class, but it is really important. Do a small stack of paper, finish it. Yes, I did it. Then do another small stack of paper, finish it, and move on, right? You'll feel better about it, and you're less likely to get caught up in making a mess that you have to clean up.
Before you continue, what should I do today if I want to win a prize?
You have to remember to put up your progress post. So usually we do a giveaway for comments during Tuesday Live on Get Organized Challenge. You have to put up a progress post. Now, a progress post doesn't mean that you have to finish 100% of sorting and organizing your paper. You just have to put up a post where you're owning what you've done. Yes, I made progress this week. Yes, I sorted 2 inches of paper. I'm on to, this or that. You just have to go public, get it out there. If you are not on Facebook to put up your progress post, then you can email in your progress post, customer service at totally-tiffany.com, and just put progress post in the subject line. It'll all get to Katie, and you will be part of the drawing. But in order to get in on the drawings during GOC, you have to be posting it. You have to own it, sisters, own it. Okay. Set up your minimum scrap size. If you're using paper storage boxes and dividers, you want to preset your sticky notes like I did for birthday beach baby, so it becomes even easier. Sort in natural light or aught light whenever possible because, as we all know, colors are deceiving. Okay, here's my quote for the week. Well, first I'm going to tell you your challenge list. So you've got your challenge checklist in your handout, the things that you need to do. And that is choose a storage tool. If you want more information on the Totally Tiffany paper storage options that are available, I'm going to talk about that at the end of class. You want to create templates or dividers for sorting. Sort at least 8 inches of paper, and I would advise doing it in 2-inch piles. Sort your scraps and throw away scraps or purge scraps that don't fit your minimum scrap size. Put your newly organized paper into your organized only space. So whatever space you emptied out to hold your new organized products, that is where that is going to go. post your progress to the Facebook page or send us an email. And when you're all done with your challenge, enjoy that reward that you've set aside for yourself. And it's really, really important that you do that. Okay, last but not least, before I let you go and start talking about product, I want you to think about your time the same way you think about your money, right? So take this hour, for example. Did you invest your time? Did you spend your time? Did you waste your time? Right? So that is really the key. And why I bring that up here is because when you're done with the Get Organized Challenge, I believe that you will feel like you are investing your time in crafting. And by investing, you're getting a product back, right? When you invest your money well, it makes you more money. It's productive, right? When you invest your time, you end up with something that you've done, something that you've completed. In this case, it's grab a page or cards or whatever. If you spend your time, you maybe had a good time doing it, whatever you were doing. You weren't actually productive in that time. Not that that's not appropriate at some point for everything we do in life, right? You don't always have to be investing. That would make you not very interesting, right? Be that single focus. And then lastly, did you waste your time? Like, did you just get in your room, your craft room, and because it's not organized, you were overwhelmed and you just spent your time looking around trying to figure out what to do, and then you got up and left, right? So, and sometimes it's good to waste time also. That is important. It's fine to waste time, but what's most important is understanding, am I investing my time? Am I spending my time? Or am I wasting my time, right? All really, really important. And all things you should do at some point in your life, in your day, whatever it is. All right, so that's it. You've got your assignment. If you want to stick around and hear a little bit more about products, what they're called, how to find them, there are products listed out on your handout, and those are linked to the website so you can get to them that way. Just going to do a quick run through of a few of the different things that are offered by Totally Tiffany and why we make different things, right? Like, why do we make more than one 12 by 12 paper organizer? For those of you who have been around for a while, you know it's because different people craft different ways in different places. People always, Kathy Craft Room always only crafts in the same room with the same supplies around her. Doesn't have people come into a room, doesn't have to share her space with people coming in and out of her room. It's all her, and it all stays where it is. So if you're Kathy Craft Room, something like the 12 by 12 paper storage boxes, the paper junkie boxes, these come in a set of 5. The SKU on them is A26. That's a great option. They are not designed to be super portable. They're going to go on your shelf. You're going to pull your paper in and out of them, and that's pretty much it. If you're somebody who travels a little bit, whether you're going to a craft event or whether you're traveling from a shelf to the dining room table, that is when paper handlers, which I guess I kept saying, but I wasn't showing, that is when paper handlers become valuable, right? You've got the pull-up handles. You can pull it off your shelf, take it to your workspace, put the handles down. You can also put it on its back, just like these. Again, you want to bookend it if you're going to put it on its back, because the bottom is engineered for the stand-up and the back is not. Paper handlers come in 3 sizes. They come in 12 by 12, A4, and 6 by 6. So some of you only use 6 by 6 paper. I know my good buddy Stephanie Bernard, her tribe loves 6 by 6, and that is their primary paper use. So the 6 by 6 paper handler might be a great solution for you with that. Next, after paper handlers, so these are open. They're open and accessible. But if you're someone who needs to close up your paper, then you're going to want to think about something like this file. So the Fab File has a lid that latches closed. The way it latches closed means that nothing's going to fall out, even if you turn it upside down. That latch is going to hold steady. You can use, with any of these 3 products, you can use the paper storage box dividers. That's A06. That's these guys that come in the set of 10. You can use those with any of them. You can also use in those boxes any of them. You can use the tabbed divider pockets in 12 by 12. So again, they're going to fit in any of those boxes. The Scrapmaster also going to fit in any of the 12 by 12 options. Different, all the boxes are different widths. So depending on how fat your Scrapmasters are, that's going to dictate how many of them will fit in the fab file, in the paper handler, or in the paper storage box. With the paper storage box or the paper handler, you can use the collection keeper. So this has 3 pockets on the front. This could be for scraps, or it could be for coordinating embellishments that go with your paper. It has a 12 by 12 pocket on the back, which will hold up to 10 sheets of paper in that back pocket. So, and each of the pockets has a little locking flap on there as well. Front and back pockets the same. That is the collection keeper. They come in sets of 3. They are tabbed on the side, and again, they will fit in the paper handler and also in the paper storage box. Here's one that's loaded up. So this is kind of a project one. It has all the pieces for this project. The rest of the project stuff is in the back. But again, that'll fit in the paper handler or the paper storage box. Paper pocket, this is kind of, I mentioned this briefly. It'll hold 10 sheets of cardstock, also tabbed on the side, also comes in sets of 3. Great for protecting things like vellum or glitter paper. You can add a little label to the side so you know what's in there. It has a flap pocket at the top, or a flap at the top that goes over the paper, so it holds the paper in there should the paper get tipped upside down. So the paper pocket, here's one that's just kind of loaded up with 12 by 12 paper. And again, they come in 3. So paper pockets are also a great way to store smaller collections of paper that don't have any coordinating embellishments or that type of thing. The paper pocket is also what I used for the green scraps when I was talking about organizing scraps. As far as your scrap rack is concerned, the side loader single is a heavier duty paper pocket that is going to work on your scrap rack. The supersized single is top load. Oh, not a supersized single, is it? This is. The supersized single is top loading. The side loader single is side loading. Now this is a little bit heavier duty. They both are going to do the same job. People like this because of the heavy dutiness of it and the fact that you can pull the paper in and out the side rather than in and out from the top. So depending on where your scrap rack is stored and how much top clearance you have, you may prefer the side loader single over the supersized single, which is the top loading one. These come in packs of 5. These come in packages of 10. Both are going to hold 20 sheets of paper or cardstock. 20 sheets is kind of heavy in cardstock, but it will definitely hold it. The Daily Double is the only page we make that actually has an A4 8.5 by 11 pocket on it. And then that leaves you this strip over here for scraps that are long, thin border type scraps that coordinate with the paper. But there is the Daily Double page that's going to hold that A4 8.5 by 11 paper. And then in terms of scraps, there's a couple of different pocket pages that work great for scraps. As I mentioned, I like 6 by 6 as a minimum scrap size. So the Fabulous 4 is a great option for that. But you may have decided that you want 4 by 6 scraps or 3 by 4 scraps or whatever it is. And then there's the Perfect 6 page and the Trader's 12 page that are going to hold those scraps as well. If you're using a scrap rack, you may want to have 1 or 2 pages at the back of each section of your scrap rack that hold those scraps. So you might have at the back of the winter section, you might have the 6 by 12 scraps and the 6 by 6 scraps in 2 different pocket pages. That way, depending on how many scraps you keep. I also would recommend, I didn't talk about it during class today, but I would definitely recommend not keeping all of your scraps all of the time, right? There are certain things that the scraps are going to be valuable to you, that you're going to use them in specialty papers. Like I have 2 sheets of cork paper that's adhesive on the back, really thin cork, super cool. No matter how small those sheets get, as I use parts of them, I'm going to keep all of the scraps because it's unique, it's hard to come by, and it's something that I could use in a small bit, but I'm not going to keep all the small bits of red or pink or, you know, other paper, especially because they tend to get light damaged and corner damaged and all that stuff. And again, I don't want to dig through tiny scraps looking for the perfect scrap size. I'd rather take a 6x6 scrap and cut it to 4x6 than keep lots of 4x6 scraps. So again, personal preference, space, time. How much time do you want to invest digging through things, like the dig in search of things? Okay, so I talked about fab files, but I didn't mention that the fab files also come in A4, 8x8, 6x6, and a bunch of other sizes, 5x7, 4x6. I don't know. I'm just having a kind of a little bit of a brain malfunction there. They come in all the sizes. There is a bundle of them available on the website where you are going to get to try out the 12x12, the A4, the 6x6, and the 8x8. There's one of each in that bundle. So if you're unsure what's going to work best for you, that might be a great way to go and kind of test those out. The paper handlers are our #1 bestseller year in, year out, because they just do the best job for the money with the most flexibility. So they're a great choice in that realm as well. All right, I think that's all the basics. Now, I showed the 12x12 pockets, tab divider pockets. All of the fab files come with pockets that fit in the fab files. So whatever size that you are working with, they come with pockets. The 5x7 and the 4x6 come in 2 options. You can get the 5x7 with file folders, and they're a reusable plastic file folder. The 5x7 and the 4x6 with file folders, or you can get them with pockets. So make sure that you're paying attention when you're ordering on the website so that you're getting the right thing, or what you think that you're getting. I do regularly get asked about the file folders in the 4x6 and the 5x7. Can I buy more of them? No, we don't sell them separately. And why? Because the box maxes out at 6. So, which is what comes with it. So even if you could buy another 6, you wouldn't be able to fit them in the box because the box is full with 6 because of the way they're shaped. It's not like the pockets, which are slim at the bottom, so you can put as many in as you can cram in there. You can only get 6 of the file folders in. Okay, so I think, let's see here. Let me make sure I'm answered all the questions here with Katie, and then I think we're ready to do a wrap. So, all right, everybody, you've got your assignments. Time to get busy, and I will see all of you a week from today at Get Organized Challenge number 3, and we are going to start talking about photos. Ooh, that's the most crazy GOC for most people. So thanks so much for tuning in. Get busy. I'm going to watch on Facebook and see how you're all progressing. Have a great week.